Jake Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he looked at the massive asteroid floating outside the window of his ship. The New Horizon had been working in space for 6 months now, far from Earth, digging up valuable metals from rocks that floated between the stars. His crew of 43 people worked hard every day, breaking apart asteroids and collecting the precious materials inside. The ship was big, but not fancy. It had thick metal walls, powerful engines, and huge mining equipment that could cut through. Solid rock like butter. Jake had been the captain for 3 years, and he knew every corner of his vessel. His crew trusted him, and he trusted them. They were all here to do a job and get home safely. Lucy Davis, the ship's engineer, called out from her station near the back of the bridge. She was a small woman with quick hands and an even quicker mind. Lucy could fix anything that broke on the ship, and she never complained about the long hours. "Captain, we are getting close to the big one," Lucy said, pointing at the screens that showed the asteroid they had been traveling toward for 2 weeks. "This rock is full of rare metals. The scanners show more valuable stuff in there than we have seen in months." Jake nodded and looked at the asteroid through the main window. It was huge, maybe 10 miles across, and it spun slowly as it moved through space. The surface was dark gray with bright patches where metals showed through the rock. This was exactly what they had come so far from home to find. "How long until we can start mining?" Jake asked. "Give me 2 hours to set up the equipment," Lucy replied. "Then we can start cutting." Jake walked around the bridge, checking on his crew. The navigation officer, Pete Collins, was a young man from Texas who never seemed worried about anything. He sat at his station, making sure the ship stayed in the right position next to the asteroid. "Everything looks good, Captain," Pete said, with a smile. "No other ships around, no problems with our equipment, just us and this big rock." The communications officer, Amy Foster, sat quietly at her station. She was responsible for keeping contact with Earth and watching for any signals from other ships. For the past 6 months, she had not heard anything except the usual messages from home. "Any word from Earth?" Jake asked her. "Just the weekly check-in signal," Amy replied. "They want to know how much material we have collected. I sent them our reports yesterday." Jake felt good about their progress. They had already filled half of their cargo holds with valuable metals and gems. If this asteroid was as rich as the scanner suggested, they would be able to fill the rest of their storage space and head home early. The crew would be happy about that. The mining operation began 2 hours later. Jake watched from the bridge as huge mechanical arms extended from the New Horizon and began cutting into the asteroid. Bright sparks flew as the cutting tools sliced through rock and metal. Inside the ship, conveyor belts carried the broken pieces to processing machines that separated the valuable materials from ordinary rock. "This is even better than we hoped," Lucy called out excitedly. "The computers show rare metals worth millions of dollars in just the first few tons we brought in." The crew worked with extra energy, knowing they had found something special. Jake felt proud of his people. They had traveled further from Earth than most humans ever would, and they were doing important work that would help their home planet. 3 hours into the mining operation, Amy Foster suddenly sat up straight at her communication station. Her face went pale, and she started pressing buttons quickly. "Captain," she said in a worried voice, "I am picking up signals. Big signals. Something is coming toward us." Jake hurried to her station. "What kind of signals?" "I do not know," Amy replied. "They are not like anything we have ever seen before. The patterns are completely different from human technology." Pete Collins looked up from his navigation controls. "Captain, I have 3 large objects approaching us. They are moving fast, and they are big. Much bigger than our ship." Jake felt his stomach drop. In all the time humans had been traveling in space, they had never met anyone else. Scientists had always wondered if other intelligent life existed, but no one had ever found proof. Now, it seemed, proof was coming to them. "How long until they reach us?" Jake asked. "Maybe 10 minutes," Pete answered. "Shut down the mining operation," Jake ordered. "Pull in all the equipment. Get ready to move if we need to." Lucy ran to her station and began bringing the mining arms back into the ship. The crew worked quickly but carefully. They had practiced emergency procedures many times, but this was different. This was real, and no one knew what to expect. "Captain," Amy called out, "they are trying to communicate with us. The signals are coming in patterns, like they are trying to send a message." "Can you understand what they are saying?" Jake asked. "No, but I think they want us to respond. Should I try to answer them?" Jake thought for a moment. This was the most important decision of his life, and maybe the most important decision in human history. First contact with alien life forms was something scientists had dreamed about for centuries. But Jake was not a scientist. He was a mining ship captain with 43 people depending on him to keep them safe. "Send a simple message," Jake said. "Tell them we are humans from Earth. Tell them we come in peace." Amy sent the message and waited. The response came quickly. The alien signals were stronger now, and they seemed more organized, like the aliens were getting ready for something. "Captain," Pete said with fear in his voice, "they are surrounding us. All 3 ships are moving into position around our ship. We cannot escape." Jake looked out the window and saw them for the first time. 3 enormous ships, each one 10 times bigger than the New Horizon, moved through space like giant metal fish. Their surfaces were smooth and dark, with strange lights that pulsed in patterns Jake had never seen before. The largest ship moved directly in front of them, blocking their path. Jake could see weapons pointing at his ship, weapons that looked like they could destroy the New Horizon with a single shot. "Amy, keep trying to communicate with them," Jake said. "Tell them we are peaceful. Tell them we do not want the fight." Before Amy could send another message, a bright beam of light shot out from the largest alien ship. It hit the New Horizon's engines, and the ship shook violently. Warning lights flashed all over the bridge, and Jake could hear the engines making strange noises. "They disabled our engines," Lucy called out from her station. "We cannot move. We are stuck here." Jake watched as smaller ships came out of the 3 large vessels. These smaller ships headed straight for the New Horizon, and Jake knew they were about to be boarded by aliens. He had no weapons that could fight ships this advanced, and no way to escape. "Everyone stay calm," Jake announced to his crew over the ship's communication system. "Do not resist. Do not try to fight them. We do not know what they want, but we need to stay alive to find out." The first aliens to board the New Horizon were unlike anything Jake had imagined. They were tall, with 4 arms and skin that looked like it was made of crystal. They wore armor that seemed to be part of their bodies, and they moved with purpose and confidence. The leader of the aliens approached Jake. When it spoke, its words came out of a small device attached to its chest, translated into English. "I am Commander Vexthai of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. "Your species is new to us. You will come with us now. Your planet will pay for your return." Jake looked at the alien commander and felt something he had never felt before. These creatures had attacked his ship without warning, disabled his engines, and now they were threatening his crew and his entire planet. They were not here to make friends or to trade. They were here to take what they wanted by force. "We are peaceful miners," Jake said. "We have done nothing wrong. We just want to go home." "What you want does not matter," Commander Vexthai replied. "What matters is what your planet will pay to get you back. Take them." The alien soldiers moved forward, and Jake knew that his crew's fight for survival was about to begin. Admiral Sam Parker sat in his office at Terra Defense Command, drinking his morning coffee and reading reports from Earth's space stations. It was a quiet Tuesday morning, the kind he had learned to appreciate after 30 years of military service. The coffee was hot, the reports were boring, and the galaxy seemed peaceful. That peace ended when his communication device started beeping with an emergency signal. The sound was different from normal calls. This was the kind of beeping that meant something very bad had happened somewhere in space. "Admiral Parker here," he said into the device. "Sir, we have received a distress signal from the mining ship New Horizon," said Lieutenant Carol Hayes from the communications center. "The message is very short, but you need to hear it right away." "Put it through," Admiral Parker said, setting down his coffee cup. The voice that came through the speaker was female, speaking quickly and quietly. "This is Engineer Lucy Davis from the New Horizon. We have been captured by aliens. The crew is alive, but we are prisoners. I am sending our location coordinates with this message. Please help us." Admiral Parker sat in silence for a moment, staring at his communication device. In all his years of service, he had never heard anything like this. Humans had been traveling in space for decades, but they had never found any sign of intelligent alien life. Now suddenly, aliens had found them first. "Lieutenant Hayes, how long ago did we receive this message?" he asked. "About 10 minutes ago, sir. The signal was very weak, like it was sent from a hidden transmitter." "Have you confirmed the coordinates?" "Yes, sir. The New Horizon is supposed to be in the Proxima Centauri system, working an asteroid field. The coordinates match that location." Admiral Parker stood up and walked to his window, looking out at Earth below. Somewhere out there, 43 humans were prisoners of aliens. No one knew what these aliens wanted or what they planned to do with their prisoners. "Lieutenant, contact President Monroe immediately. Tell her we have a code red situation. Then call an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. Everyone needs to be in the Situation Room in 1 hour." "Yes, sir." Admiral Parker spent the next hour making phone calls and reviewing every piece of information they had about the New Horizon and its crew. Captain Jake Morrison was a good man with a clean record. His crew was made up of experienced miners and engineers, all of them civilians who had signed up for what was supposed to be a safe mission. The Situation Room filled up quickly. President Lisa Monroe arrived first, followed by the heads of every major military branch and several civilian leaders. Dr. Alan Foster, the Secretary of Xenological Affairs, hurried in with a thick folder of papers about possible alien contact. "Scenarios. Ladies and gentlemen," Admiral Parker began, 48 hours ago, humanity was alone in the universe. Today, we have learned that we are not alone, and our new neighbors are hostile." He played Lucy Davis's message for the room. The silence that followed was heavy and uncomfortable. These were people who had spent their careers preparing for wars. Between humans, not wars with aliens. "What do we know about these aliens?" asked President Monroe. "Nothing," Admiral Parker replied. "We have never seen them before. We do not know what they want, what they are capable of, or why they captured our people." General Kate Sullivan, the head of Earth's Space Forces, leaned forward in her chair. "Admiral, we need to assume the worst. If aliens have the technology to capture one of our ships, they probably have the technology to attack Earth itself." Dr. Foster opened his folder and pulled out several documents. "I have been studying possible first contact scenarios for years. Most of our models suggest that aliens who make contact by capturing humans are likely to make demands. They may want technology, resources, or territory." "What kind of demands?" President Monroe asked. "Usually, they start with ransom demands for the prisoners. If we pay, they will ask for more. Eventually, they will want regular tribute payments and may try to make us into a subject species. President Monroe looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Some looked scared, others looked angry, and a few looked confused. All of them were waiting for her to make a decision that would affect the entire human race. How long before we know what they want? She asked Dot as if in answer to her question. Admiral Parker's communication device beeped. Lieutenant Hayes's voice came through the speaker. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the Proxima Centauri system. It appears to be from the aliens who captured the New Horizon. Put it through to the Situation Room. Admiral Parker ordered. The voice that came through the speakers was cold and mechanical, clearly translated by some kind of machine. People of Earth, I am Commander Vex Thai of the Zephyrian Empire. We have 43 of your species as our prisoners. Everyone in the room stopped breathing. This was really happening. Aliens were talking to Earth, and they had human prisoners. Your species is new to us, the alien voice continued. We have established first contact according to our standard procedures. We now present our demands for the safe return of your people. Dr. Foster was writing notes as fast as he could. General Sullivan was already calculating military responses. President Monroe sat perfectly still, listening to every word. You will deliver to us 50 tons of processed uranium, complete technical specifications for your faster-than-light travel, systems, and a promise of yearly tribute payments consisting of rare earth elements. You have 72 hours to agree to these terms. If you refuse our demands, we will begin executing prisoners. If you attempt to rescue them, we will destroy their ship and all aboard. If you try to attack us, we will consider it an act of war against the Zephyrian Empire. The transmission ended, leaving the Situation Room in complete silence. President Monroe stood up slowly. Dr. Foster, in your studies of first contact scenarios, has any species ever successfully negotiated with aliens who used these tactics? Dr. Foster looked through his papers. According to our theoretical models, species that give in to initial demands usually end up as subject peoples. The aliens keep asking for more until the target species has no choice but to submit completely. And species that refuse the initial demands? The models suggest they usually fight. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but they maintain their independence. General Sullivan spoke up. Madam President, we have no idea how advanced these aliens are. They could have weapons we cannot imagine. They could destroy Earth if we make them angry. They could also be bluffing, Admiral Parker said. They captured a mining ship, not a military vessel. We do not know how strong they really are. President Monroe walked to the window and looked out at Earth. Somewhere up there, beyond the atmosphere, aliens were holding humans prisoner and demanding tribute. They expected Earth to pay ransom like a frightened victim. She thought about human history. She thought about all the times humans had faced impossible odds and refused to give up. She thought about the people who had died, fighting for freedom rather than accepting slavery. Admiral Parker, she said, prepare a response to these aliens. Tell them that Earth does not negotiate with kidnappers. Tell them that we do not pay ransom demands. Tell them that if they want to deal with humanity, they will do it with respect, not with threats. Dr. Foster looked shocked. Madam President, they could kill the prisoners. They could kill them anyway, President Monroe replied. If we give them what they want now, they will just ask for more later. Eventually, they will want to control our entire planet. What about the families of the prisoners? General Sullivan asked. What do we tell them? President Monroe thought about Captain Jake Morrison and his crew. They were good people who had been doing their jobs when aliens attacked them. They deserve to be rescued, not abandoned. We tell them that we are going to bring their loved ones home, she said. But we are going to do it our way, not the aliens' way. Admiral Parker smiled for the first time since the crisis began. What are? Your orders, Madam President? Activate Operation Phoenix. Contact every spacefaring nation and tell them we need every ship they have. These aliens think they can threaten Earth and expect us to pay them for the privilege. They are about to learn that they picked the wrong species to mess with. President Monroe turned to face the room full of leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to make history. We are going to show the galaxy what humanity is made of. We do not pay ransom. We do not submit to threats. We rescue our people, and we protect our world. She walked toward the door, then stopped and looked back. And if these aliens want to fight, we will give them one they will never forget. The room erupted in activity as Earth's leaders began preparing for humanity's first interstellar war. Outside the window, the planet continued its peaceful rotation, unaware that its children were about to announce themselves to the galaxy in the most human way possible, with defiance, courage, and the absolute refusal to back down. Commander Vexthai stood in his command center on the alien moon base, staring at the message that had just arrived from Earth. He read it 3 times, each time becoming more confused and angry. People of the Zephyrian Empire, the message said, we have received your demands. Our answer is no. We do not negotiate with kidnappers. We do not pay ransom money. Release our people immediately, or we will come and take them back ourselves. This is your only warning. The alien commander had been dealing with new species for over 200 years. He had captured ships from 47 different planets, and every single time, the species had eventually agreed to pay. Some tried to negotiate the price. Some asked for more time. Some begged for mercy. But none had ever simply said no. Vexthai called his second in command, a smaller alien with 6 arms and bright green skin. Sub-Commander Kalinix, look at this. Message from the human planet. What do you think it means? Kalinix read the message and made a sound that might have been laughter. Commander, these humans are clearly bluffing. They are a primitive species with basic technology. They cannot possibly challenge the Zephyrian Empire. But they sound very confident, Vexthai said. Maybe they have weapons we do not know about. Impossible. Kalinix replied. We scanned their mining ship completely. Their technology is centuries behind ours. They have no weapons that could threaten our ships. Vexthai walked to the window of his command center and looked down at the detention facility, where the human prisoners were being held. The facility was built into the surface of a small moon, with thick walls and powerful energy shields. No prisoner had ever escaped from this place. Contact the High Council, Vexthai ordered. Tell them about the human response. Ask for instructions. The answer from the High Council came quickly. The message was short and clear. Execute 10% of the prisoners as a demonstration. Send the video to their planet. They will pay after they see what happens to those who refuse our demands. Vexthai had done this many times before. Most species paid the ransom after seeing a few of their people die. Those who still refused usually gave in after the second round of executions. It was an efficient system that had worked for thousands of years. He ordered his guards to go to the detention facility and select 4 prisoners for execution. The guards were large, strong aliens with thick armor and powerful weapons. They had handled thousands of prisoners from dozens of different species. Humans should be no different. But when the guards entered the human detention area, they found something they had never seen before. The 43 prisoners were not sitting quietly in their cells, waiting to be rescued. Instead, they had been busy. Jake Morrison had organized his crew into work teams. Lucy Davis had figured out how to take apart the cell doors and turn the metal pieces into tools and weapons. Pete Collins had mapped every corridor and room in their section of the facility. Amy Foster had found a way to listen to the guards. Communications, The humans had also discovered something important about their captors. The Zephyrian guards were used to dealing with frightened prisoners who would do anything to stay alive. They expected captured beings to be cooperative and obedient. When the first guard entered the detention area to select prisoners for execution, Jake Morrison was waiting for him. The human captain had a piece of sharp metal in his hand, taken from a broken cell door. As the guard reached for him, Jake struck quickly and precisely, hitting the alien in a gap between his armor plates. The guard made a surprised sound and stumbled backward. It had never been attacked by a prisoner before. Other humans immediately joined the fight, using improvised weapons and working together like a trained military unit. Lucy Davis threw a handful of metal dust into another guard's face, blinding it temporarily. Pete Collins and 2 other crew members tackled a third guard, using their combined weight to knock the alien to the ground. Amy Foster grabbed the alien's weapon and pointed it at the remaining guards. "Tell your commander that we are not going." "To make this easy for him," Jake said to the guards, "we know you want to kill some of us to scare our planet, but we are not going to just stand here and let you do it." The guards retreated, confused and angry. They had never encountered prisoners who fought back so effectively. Most species became more cooperative when faced with execution, not more aggressive. Vexthai received the report from his guards with disbelief. "They attacked you? With pieces of metal?" "Yes, Commander," the guard replied. "They worked together like soldiers. They had weapons ready and a plan prepared. These humans are not like other prisoners." "How many guards were injured?" "3. Commander." "Not seriously, but they knew exactly where to hit us to cause the most damage." Vexthai had never heard of anything like this. Primitive species were supposed to be easy to control. They were supposed to be frightened of advanced aliens with superior technology. "Send more guards," he ordered. "Take the prisoners by force." "Commander," the guard said hesitantly, "the humans have barricaded themselves in their section of the facility. They have blocked all the entrances, and they are armed with improvised weapons. It will not be easy to get to them." Meanwhile, in the human detention area, Jake Morrison was addressing his crew. They had dragged furniture and equipment to block the doorways, creating a fortress inside the alien facility. "Listen up, everyone," Jake said. "We all know what these aliens want to do to us. They want to kill some of us to scare Earth into paying them money. But we are not going to make it easy for them." "What do you think will happen to us?" asked one of the younger crew members. "I do not know," Jake replied honestly. "But I know what will happen to Earth if we just give up. These aliens will keep demanding more and more until our whole planet becomes their slave. We cannot let that happen." Lucy Davis spoke up from her position near one of the barricades. "Captain, I managed to get another message out to Earth before the aliens found my transmitter. I told them about our situation and what the aliens are planning." "Good work," Jake said. "Now all we can do is hold out as long as possible and hope that Earth sends help." "Do you really think they will come for us?" Pete Collins asked. Jake looked around at his crew. These were good people who had signed up for a mining mission, not a war with aliens. But they were fighting anyway, because they understood what was at stake. "Yes," he said, "I know our people. Humans do not abandon their own. They will come." Outside their barricaded area, more alien guards were gathering. Vexthai had decided to use overwhelming force to capture the humans. He could not allow prisoners to successfully resist the Zephyrian Empire. But as the aliens prepared their assault, long-range sensors detected something approaching their star system. Ships were coming from the direction of Earth, and there were a lot of them. Vexthai studied the sensor readings with growing concern. According to his instruments, nearly 200 human ships were heading toward his position. The fleet included everything from small fighters to massive battleships. Sub-Commander Kolonex, he called. Look at these readings. The humans are sending their entire fleet. Kolonex examined the data. Commander, this makes no sense. Why would they risk so many ships to rescue 43 prisoners? The logical response would be to negotiate. Unless, Vextai said slowly, they really meant what they said in their message. He looked down at the detention facility where the human prisoners were still holding out against his guards. For the first time in his long career, Commander, Vextai began to wonder if he had made a serious mistake. The humans were not behaving like any species he had ever encountered. They fought when they should have surrendered. They sent fleets when they should have paid ransom. They treated the capture of 43 individuals as an act of war against their entire species. As the human fleet grew closer, Vextai realized that he was about to face something the Zephyrian Empire had never dealt with before. A species that would rather fight than submit. The standoff was about to become a battle, and nobody knew how it would end. Admiral Sam Parker stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the alien moon base grow larger on the main screen. Behind him, nearly 200 human ships moved through space in perfect formation. The fleet included vessels from every nation on Earth that had ships capable of space travel. Admiral, we are receiving a transmission from the alien commander, reported Communications Officer Tony Grant. Put it through, Admiral Parker said. The mechanical voice of Commander Vextai filled the bridge. Human fleet, you are entering Zephyrian territory without permission. Turn back immediately, or we will consider this an act of war. Admiral Parker picked up his communication device. Commander Vextai, this is Admiral Parker of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have something that belongs to us. We want it back. Your people are safe as long as you follow our demands. Pay the tribute we asked for, and they will be returned to you. We told you already, Admiral Parker replied. Humans do not pay ransom money. We do not make deals with kidnappers. Release our people now, or we will take them back ourselves. There was a long pause before Vextai responded. Admiral, you cannot win a fight against us. Our technology is far more advanced than yours. We have weapons that can destroy your entire fleet. Maybe you do, Admiral Parker said. But you have something we want, and we are going to get it back. That is what humans do. To prove his point, Vextai ordered one of his ships to fire at a large asteroid near the human fleet. The alien weapon completely destroyed the rock with a single shot, turning it into dust and small pieces. That is what will happen to your ships if you do not leave, Vextai warned. Admiral Parker watched the asteroid disappear and felt his stomach tighten. The alien weapons were indeed more powerful than anything humans had. But he also knew something that the alien commander did not understand. All ships, Admiral Parker announced over the fleet communication system. You saw what their weapons can do. They are stronger than us, and they have better technology. But they have our people, and we are going to get them back. Remember what we are fighting for. The response from the human fleet was immediate. Captain Ryan O'Neill, commanding a destroyer called the Boston, was the first to reply. Admiral, we did not come all this way to turn around now. Give us our orders. We are ready, Admiral, called Captain Beth Adams from her fighter squadron. Just tell us what you want us to do. Admiral Parker felt proud of his people. They knew they were facing superior technology, but they were not afraid. They understood that some things were more important than safety. Commander Vextai, Admiral, Parker said into his communicator, you made a mistake when you captured our people. Your second mistake was thinking we would pay you money to get them back. Do not make a third mistake by underestimating what humans will do to protect each other. You are fools, Vextai replied. We will destroy you all. Then you better get started, Admiral Parker said. because we are not leaving without our people. The battle began when Vexthai ordered his 3 massive warships to attack the human fleet. The alien weapons were incredibly powerful, destroying human ships with single shots. But the humans did not fight the way Vexthai expected. Instead of forming battle lines like civilized military forces, the human ships spread out and attacked from all directions at once. Small fighters flew directly at the alien warships, firing their weapons and then disappearing before the aliens could target them. Captain O'Neill did something that shocked the alien commander. Instead of trying to avoid the alien weapons, he aimed his destroyer directly at the largest enemy ship and accelerated to full speed. "O'Neill, what are you doing?" Admiral Parker called over the radio. "Giving you an opening, Admiral?" O'Neill replied calmly. "Make it count." The Boston crashed into the alien warship's weapon array, destroying both ships in a massive explosion. But the collision damaged the alien vessel's main guns, making it much less dangerous to the rest of the human fleet. Vexthai watched in horror as the human captain deliberately sacrificed his ship and his life to help his fellow humans. In all his years of military service, he had never seen anything like it. Why did he do that? Vexthai asked his second in command. He could have retreated and lived. "I do not understand these humans," Kalinex replied. "They fight like they are not afraid to die." The battle continued with more human ships making similar sacrifices. Captain Adams led her fighter squadron in a direct attack on the moon base's shield generators. Half of her pilots were destroyed by alien defenses, but the survivors managed to overload the shields protecting the facility. "This is Adams to all ships," she reported. "The shields are down. You have a clear shot at the moon base." Admiral Parker ordered every ship in his fleet to concentrate their fire on the alien facility. The combined firepower of 200 human ships was enormous, even if each individual weapon was weaker than what the aliens had. The moon base's outer defenses began to fail under the massive attack. Explosions lit up the surface as human missiles and energy beams found their targets. Inside the detention facility, Jake Morrison and his crew felt the base shaking from the bombardment. "That sounds like Earth ships," Lucy Davis said with excitement. "Our people came for us." "I told you they would," Jake replied. "Humans do not abandon each other." On the bridge of his damaged warship, Commander Vexthai realized that his situation was becoming desperate. The human fleet was smaller and less advanced than his forces, but they fought with a determination he had never encountered before. "Commander," reported one of his officers, "the humans are not following standard military tactics. They are attacking in ways that make no strategic sense." "What do you mean?" Vexthai asked. "They are willing to sacrifice their ships to damage ours. They attack targets that give them no advantage except to help other human ships. They fight like every ship in their fleet is more important to them than their own lives." Vexthai began to understand something important about humans. They were not fighting as individuals trying to survive. They were fighting as a single group, willing to sacrifice everything for each other. A human assault ship managed to break through the moon base's defenses and dock with the facility. Armed human soldiers poured out of the ship and began fighting their way through the corridors toward the detention area. Colonel Dan Hughes led the assault team through the alien base. His soldiers moved quickly and efficiently, using tactics designed for fighting in enclosed spaces. The alien guards had never faced human soldiers before, and they were not prepared for the aggressive, coordinated attack. "This is Hughes to Morrison," the colonel called on his radio. "We are in the facility and heading your way. Hold your position." "We are not going anywhere," Jake replied. "We have been waiting for you." The human assault team reached the detention area just as alien reinforcements arrived from the opposite direction. A fierce battle broke out in the corridors of the moon base, with humans and aliens fighting at close range with advanced weapons. But the humans had one advantage that the aliens had not expected. Jake Morrison and his crew joined the fight, attacking the alien guards from behind. While the assault team attacked from the front, the aliens found themselves trapped between two groups of humans who worked together perfectly. Within minutes, the detention area was under human control. All prisoners accounted for, Colonel Hughes reported to Admiral Parker. We have them, and we are ready to leave. But Commander Vexthai was not ready to give up. His remaining warships moved to block the human escape route, preparing to destroy the assault ship before it could leave the moon base. Admiral, called the pilot of the assault ship, we cannot get past the remaining ships. They have us trapped. Admiral Parker looked at the tactical display showing the positions of all the ships in the battle. The human fleet had been reduced to less than half its original size, but they had accomplished their mission. The prisoners were freed out. Now they just had to get everyone home alive. All ships, Admiral Parker announced, form up around the assault ship. We are going home, and we are taking everyone with us. The remaining human ships moved into protective formation around the vessel, carrying Jake Morrison and his crew. They knew that getting the prisoners to safety was more important than anything else, even their own lives. The final phase of the battle was about to begin, and Admiral Parker knew that some of his people would not make it home. But he also knew that every human in the fleet understood what they were fighting for. They were fighting for the principle that humans do not abandon each other. They were fighting to show the galaxy that Earth would not be intimidated by threats. Most importantly, they were fighting to bring their people home. The battle was far from over, but the message was already clear to anyone watching. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy, and the terms were non-negotiable. The final battle lasted 3 more hours. Admiral Sam Parker watched as his fleet fought desperately to protect the assault ship carrying Jake Morrison and his crew. Human ships continued to sacrifice themselves to keep the rescue vessel safe, ramming alien warships and attacking impossible targets to create openings for their comrades. Commander Vexthai found himself trapped in his command center as human soldiers broke through the moon base defenses. His remaining warships were badly damaged, and his crew was demoralized by the fierce human resistance they had encountered. Commander, his second-in-command, reported, "We are receiving surrender requests from our remaining ships. The humans have damaged all our major weapon systems." Vexthai looked at the tactical display showing the battle. Half of his forces were destroyed or disabled. The human fleet was also badly damaged, but they continued to fight with the same determination they had shown from the beginning. "How is this possible?" Vexthai asked. "Their technology is inferior to ours. They fight differently than any species we have encountered," Kalinex replied. "They do not retreat when they should. They do not surrender when defeat is certain. They sacrifice their lives for objectives that seem to have no strategic value." Through the command center windows, Vexthai could see human assault troops moving through his base. They moved with purpose and coordination, working together like a single organism. Even when faced with superior alien weapons, they continued to advance. A human soldier appeared at the command center door. Colonel Dan Hughes entered with his weapon ready, followed by several other soldiers and Jake Morrison himself. "Commander Vexthai," Colonel Hughes said, "I am placing you under arrest for kidnapping and acts of war against humanity." Vexthai stared at the human captain he had captured only days before. Jake Morrison looked tired but determined. He showed no fear of the alien commander who had threatened to execute him and his crew. "You cannot win this war," Vexthai said. "The Zephyrian Empire controls hundreds of star systems. We have thousands of ships and weapons you cannot imagine." "Maybe," Jake replied. But you made one big mistake when you decided to mess with humans. What mistake? You thought we would be afraid of you. Admiral Parker's voice came over the communication system. Colonel Hughes, we need to leave now. More alien ships are approaching our position. Colonel Hughes nodded to his soldiers. Take the alien commander with us. He is now a prisoner of war. As the human assault team prepared to leave the moon base, Vextai found himself in the same position his human prisoners had been in just hours before. But there was an important difference. The humans did not threaten to execute him or demand ransom money from his government. What do you plan to do with me? Vextai asked Jake Morrison as they walked toward the human assault ship. We are going to take you back to Earth, Jake replied. Our leaders will want to talk to you. And then? That depends on you and your empire. If you want to deal with humans in the future, you will do it with respect, not with threats. The journey back to Earth took several weeks. During that time, Vextai was kept in comfortable quarters on Admiral Parker's flagship. He was not tortured or mistreated, which surprised him. In the Zephyrian Empire, prisoners were usually treated harshly to break their spirit. Jake Morrison visited the alien commander regularly, trying to understand why the Zephyrians had attacked his mining ship. Your species follows a pattern, Vextai explained during one of their conversations. We make contact, demonstrate our superior technology, make demands, and eventually incorporate new species into our empire. It has worked successfully for thousands of years. What happens to species that refuse to join your empire? Jake asked. Most do not refuse. Once they see our weapons and our ships, they understand that resistance is futile. But some do refuse? Vextai was quiet for a moment. Some fight back. Usually, we destroy them completely to serve as an example to others. Jake felt a chill when he heard this. The Zephyrian Empire had committed genocide against species that refused to submit to their demands. How many species have you destroyed? He asked. 17, Vextai replied without emotion. It is regrettable, but necessary to maintain order in the galaxy. Jake reported this conversation to Admiral Parker, who immediately sent the information to Earth. The knowledge that the aliens had destroyed entire civilizations made humanity's response even more important. When the human fleet finally reached Earth, they were greeted as heroes. The rescued miners were reunited with their families, while the captured alien technology was studied by Earth's best scientists. President Lisa Monroe held a press conference that was broadcast to the entire planet. She stood at a podium with Jake Morrison, Admiral Parker, and Commander Vextai beside her. Fellow citizens of Earth, she began. 2 weeks ago, we learned that we are not alone in the universe. We also learned that our new neighbors tried to treat us like their property. The president looked directly at the camera. Today, I want to send a message to every intelligent species in the galaxy. Humanity offers friendship to those who approach. U.S. with peaceful intentions. We welcome trade, knowledge sharing, and cooperation with any species that treats us as equals. She paused, and her expression became more serious. However, to any species that thinks they can threaten us, capture our people or demand tribute from us, understand this clearly. We are not your subjects. We are not your property. We do not negotiate with kidnappers, and we do not pay ransom demands. If you want to deal with humanity, you will do it with respect. If you try to conquer us or enslave us, you will find that humans are willing to fight for their freedom, no matter what the cost. President Monroe gestured toward Commander Vextai. This alien commander learned that lesson the hard way. His empire thought they could force us to submit by capturing our people and threatening to kill them. Instead, they discovered that humans will risk everything to protect each other. The president's final words became known throughout the galaxy as the Terran Doctrine. We extend our hand in friendship to those who come in peace. But to those who come with threats and demands, we say this: leave us alone, or face the consequences. We are humanity, and we do not bow to anyone. After the press conference, Commander Vexthai was taken to a secure facility where Earth's diplomats could question him about the Zephyrian Empire and other alien species in the galaxy. Jake Morrison returned to his job as a mining ship captain. But his new vessel was very different from the New Horizon. The ship was called the No Tribute, and it was armed with weapons developed from captured alien technology. 6 months later, Jake received a message while working in the asteroid belt. A Zephyrian ship was approaching, but this time they came with a diplomatic flag rather than weapons. Captain Morrison, the alien captain, said over the radio, "I am Captain Zelther of the Zephyrian Diplomatic Corps. My government wishes to establish formal relations with humanity." "What kind of relations?" Jake asked. "Trade agreements, technology sharing, mutual defense treaties. The High Council has decided that humans should be treated as equals, not as subjects." Jake smiled as he replied, "That sounds much better than your last offer. But you will have to talk to our government, not to me. I am just a mining ship captain. We understand." "But Captain Morrison, may I ask you a question?" "Go ahead." "Why were you and your crew willing to fight us when you knew you could not win?" Jake thought about the question for a moment. "Because some things are more important than winning. Freedom is more important than safety. Standing up for what is right is more important than avoiding a fight. Even if it means you might die? Especially if it means we might die. That is what makes us human." The Zephyrian captain was quiet for a long time before responding. "We are beginning to understand why your species has earned so much respect throughout the galaxy in such a short time." Respect? The story of humanity's refusal to pay ransom has spread to hundreds of worlds. Many species that were conquered by various empires are now asking themselves why they submitted so easily. Your example has inspired others to demand their freedom. Jake felt proud of what his species had accomplished. They had not only won their freedom, but they had shown other species that resistance was possible. "Captain Zelther," Jake said, "you are welcome to visit Earth and speak with our leaders. But remember one thing: we earned our respect by refusing to give in to threats. Do not expect us to change now." "We would not want you to change," the alien captain replied. "The galaxy is a more interesting place with humans in it." As Jake watched the Zephyrian diplomatic ship heading toward Earth, he knew that humanity had truly announced itself to the galaxy. They had shown everyone that humans were not a species to be conquered or intimidated. They were a species to be respected, and that respect had been earned the hard way, through courage, determination, and the absolute refusal to abandon their principles. The message had been sent and received throughout the galaxy. Humanity was here, and they were not going anywhere.